At some point in history, one human handed over something real, food, a tool, an animal, and accepted a shiny piece of metal in return. Metal you can't eat, metal you can't wear, metal that does absolutely nothing. And somehow that was a fair trade. Who was the first person to fall for that? And why did the rest of us follow them? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The money in your pocket only works because everyone agrees to pretend it does. So, how did that pretending start? You probably learned the story in school. Before money, there was barter. You have chickens, I have shoes, we swap. But barter has a fatal flaw. What if the shoe guy doesn't want chickens? You'd spend all day hunting for someone who has what you want and wants what you have. So, the story goes, humans invented money to fix it. It's a neat story. Clean, logical. There's just one problem with it, and we'll get there. What we do know is that early money was stuff that was useful all by itself. Cattle, sacks of grain, salt. Roman soldiers' pay is where the word salary comes from. And across Africa and Asia, one of the most successful currencies in human history. Cowrie shells. Small, shiny, impossible to fake, easy to carry. People paid with shells for thousands of years, across a bigger area than any coin. Then, around 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, things got serious. Temples and palaces started keeping accounts in a fixed weight of silver. The shekel. You didn't even need the actual silver in your hand. A clay tablet said who owed what to whom, and the tablet itself was the record of value. Then, around 2,600 years ago, in a kingdom called Lydia, in what's now Turkey, someone had the big idea. Take lumps of precious metal, make them all the same weight, and stamp the king's mark on them. The first true coins. The stamp was a promise. This is real. The king says so. Money now had a face, but remember that neat barter story from school? Here's the twist. When researchers actually went looking for it, they couldn't find it. Anthropologists have studied societies all over the world, and they've essentially never found one that ran on pure barter the way the textbooks describe. What they found instead was older and stranger debt. In real villages, you didn't swap shoes for chickens on the spot. Your neighbor just gave you the shoes, and now you owed them one. Everyone kept a running mental tab of favors and obligations. Money didn't begin as a thing. It began as a memory, a way of keeping score between people who trusted each other. The coins, the shells, the silver. Those came later, mostly for dealing with strangers you'd never see again. Soldiers, traders, tax collectors. And once you see money as trust made visible, the craziest invention of all makes sense. About 1,000 years ago in China, merchants got tired of hauling heavy coins around and started trading paper receipts instead. The government took over the idea and boom, paper money. Value backed by nothing but a promise. Sound familiar? It should. It's every bill in your wallet. So, who invented money? Nobody. And everybody. It wasn't one genius with a coin, it was thousands of years of humans keeping score. First in their heads, then in clay, then in metal, then on paper, and now in numbers floating on a screen. The metal was never the point. The trust was. Money is just a story we all agree to keep telling. And the moment we stop believing it, it turns back into paper.